All righty. Hello. Mm. Here we go. I'm gonna let y'all come on in here. We're back again. Here 2 days in a row. How y'all doing? What's going on? How was your day? What's for dinner? All the things. I'm just giving everybody a chance to come on in so we can talk about what we got to talk about, which is out of control. Hey, makeup. Oh, you're sad. Yes, girl. We've been waiting. We've been waiting, right? Has it been? It's been like a week. I feel like not a week, maybe like 4 days. Like 4 days. And also shout out to Layla. She was the one that that inboxed me and was like, "Hey, watch this. Watch this. Hey, Renato, tell me what you think of this one, right?" And boy, oh boy, do I have thoughts. So everybody just come on in and get settled and situated. Let's see what's new. I already told y'all everything in terms of like in general, catching up with me yesterday. Oh, well, today I went outside. I went out to there's this pot that I really like. And oh yeah, you know what? I could put the pictures in there and I could show y'all in the meantime what I'm talking about. Since I took pictures. This, this, and this. So a couple weeks ago I was out and about doing something and shit. A couple weeks ago I was out and about doing something and I was in TJ Maxx and I saw this pot that I really, really liked. I really liked this pot. And hold on, let me pull it up. Uh, uh, hold on, I'm trying to pull it up. Oh, it's not a tab, it's a window. Haha, that was the problem. Okay, so I found this pot that I liked. Isn't it pretty? I love the color and I love the inside because I have a thing for hey Lorenza. Shut up, kitty. I have a thing for ceramic pots or pots that have like a ceramic coating or whatever. And so this pot you see is a pretty fall color, kind of pumpkin spicy a little bit. And it had oh hey Leila. Yeah, I'm just, telling the little stuff to let people come in. And the inside is like a ceramic coating or whatever. Beautiful, right? So I was just like, oh well, I don't know if I can justify the purchase because it was like $50 at the time, and I was just like, yeah, I'm going to just pass on it for right now. Maybe it'll be there later on if I can go get it. So some stuff came through, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'll go back and see if they had the pot. I didn't expect it to be there per se, but I was hoping it was there. So this was today. I went and took a picture of it. But look what it looked like today. Look at this. Look, what is that? Why is it chipped like that? And this is the outside of it. I don't know what they was doing in there. And then mind you, they had the nerve. It wasn't even marked down. And so then I was walking around in there for a while trying to figure out like, okay, because I knew if I took it up to the thing, they was going to give me a discount, right? But I was like, this ain't even worth getting a discount. But you see the inside of the pot, like those are the types of pots I like. I like when the inside of the pots look like that, like the white pots. When I lived in my other apartment, I had all white pots, like they were white on the inside like that, and they were white on the outside. And I had put that whole like little set together because I bought them all individually from Ross. So I had like 4 or 5 pots. I had a big like cooking pot, like you could cook a bunch of chili or soup or something, stew in. I had a couple saucepans, and then I had a frying pan, and then I had the matching what's that called? Coffee pot or kettle. And so when I had lost that apartment, I had put my stuff in storage, and then eventually I lost the storage. So that was the one thing I wish I had kept with me, were my pots and stuff. But I say all that to say I love the inside of pots when they look like that. So I really wanted it. But yeah, it's all chewed up. I don't know who they expected, whatever. So of course I didn't go get it. I just bought me some sneakers. But yeah. So that was my day. And then I went and just was around town, got me a little lunch, sat down, enjoyed the sunshine a bit. I saw this person outside when I was walking towards the bus to get home. And it was a person. It's usually a lot of people. I don't know if they were homeless or not, but I suspect the person was homeless. And I just remember I walked past them and they looked like they were just like in a trance and they were just sitting there. And I had walked all the way past them, like it kind of got down the street a bit, but my heart was just like, no, like go give them something. So I went back and gave them. So I said, I don't know what's going on, but here. And I just gave them, little change I had in my pocket or whatever, because I've been there before where you just like, I'm just fucking here. You know what I mean? Like I'm here and I'm not, I don't like telling the story in terms of like this idea of, oh yeah, I gave somebody something, but I'm just saying like recognizing that somebody was just going through it. You know what I mean? Like just when you just look at somebody and just tell like they just here. And so yeah, that happened. So I did that and then I came home. We've been in there tussling about the subject for today. So I'm going to go ahead and play the intro. We've been on about 7 minutes. It's a nice little bit of people. Hi, Mary. Yes, you made it just in time. We just got started. I was just doing my intro. And Daniela and Chrissy and Alicia and Chica, Run and Tell, Wake Up, Kenny. Is it anybody I missed? Lorenza. Everybody's here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and play the intro and then we will get started. What is this? Sorry. Gotta be quicker than that. Okay. This is a mother.
No problem. You in charge of the girls, right? I am in charge of the girls. Are you in charge of the girls? I am in charge of the girls.
Okay, so sorry. I don't know what's going on. Okay, there we go. It just wanted to play over. All right, so this is the story of, yes, everybody, please like the live. If anybody watch the thing, watch the documentary, you can share it with them so they can come and chat. If we have some people that want to come up, because I am going to open up the panel later. If anybody wants to come up and give their theories or anything like that, that's fine. So this is a story about these two young people. Hold on, I got their picture. I'm gonna pull them up. Here they go. So this is about these two young people. The young lady's name is Lauren, and the young man's name is Owen. Now, mind you, looking at this picture, like when the documentary comes on and they're just giving kind of a little overview of what's going on, stop trying to peer pressure her. I thought they were related. But I say all that to say that to me, they were just like a little cute, little bookends. You know what I mean? They look cute together. They look like they match. They look like a matching set, right? And they're painting this picture of this idyllic, cutesy little relationship that they had. She said, I'm eating. Thank you. this cutesy little relationship that they had and how everything was going so well, and they were just living their little 14-year-old. I believe they're like anywhere between 12 and 14 in this picture, but they've known each other for a couple years, and then they decide in their adolescence that they're going to be a couple. So these two are a cute little couple. And let me make this smaller. Oh, I can make it bigger. I'm trying to figure out why. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. No, the opposite. Or there we go. That's fine. That works better for me. So, they're going along, and then one day, out of nowhere, because they're both okay. So how do I put this? He's friends with every single girl in the town, it seems like let's start there. He's friends with everybody, but honestly I feel like they all being that, again, they're just coming into adolescence and stuff like that. It's just that the boys and the girls mix, and then one day boys and girls start liking each other in that way and start pairing off, and so they happen to pair off, but he is friends with a lot of other girls in the town, and she is not necessarily friends with these other girls. And I personally, this is my opinion, I feel like that rivalry that can kick in when boys start liking girls and stuff like that happens happens, and since she is his girlfriend, that kind of ups the tension a bit. So anyway, um another girl in the town who will come into play later on, she doesn't invite her to this party that everybody else is invited to. Of course, he's invited. And he's like, hey, look, girl, you're my girl. And, if I'm going, you're going type of thing, whatever. So then, out of the blue, from an unknown number, she gets a text message. And the text message is basically saying something like, oh, Owen doesn't really like you. I can treat him better than you can. I know what he needs, that type of stuff. So let me go to my notes. I got a whole page of notes here. Initially, my first reaction just off of the text alone, the first text alone, I said, this sounds like an adult to me. Mind you, when they're setting up, the story, they say, oh, you're not going to believe who it was when everything is said and done. So initially, I'm like, okay, this isn't a child. I don't think it's a child. I think it's an adult. Based off of that and the wording of the text messages, the posturing of the text messages. Okay, cool. So then this is what they said specifically that made me feel like this is an adult. And I have it in quotations. It says, you're a sweet girl, but I can give him what he needs. Who that sounds like, mama, auntie type talk. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't sound like a child talking to their peer. So look at y'all talking about how she eat. Oh my God. Anyway, she said, I'm still gay. Girl, yes. So I already talked about how Lauren and Owen look alike. I thought they were siblings. It says, okay, I found it weird. And these are just like random things that I was taking. This, mind you, this is off of my first watch that I'm taking these notes. So these are just random things. I'm really locked in. It said preschool through 12th. The whole of their school life is in one building. You get what I'm saying? Preschool through 12th grade is all in one building. I said, I think it's a bit wild, but I guess it makes sense in a small town. I also feel like that is where like that awkwardness can happen as well. Cause like, okay, I live in Philadelphia, and it's like you go to an elementary school, y'all can wind up breaking up, going to different schools and stuff, right? So with them, it's like you never get away from each other. And like I said, when you're making those transitions from being a child where certain things don't matter to now you're an adolescent, and you know, boys start picking and choosing and things like that, competition can brew. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I can see like, how this is building up or whatever, like a rivalry. Okay. So now that the girls started receiving these text messages or whatever, I said, Lauren's mom saying to just ignore it, that kind of stuck out to me as odd. Mind you, let me take a step back. And let me show you Lauren's mom. This is Lauren's mom. That's Lauren's mom. And the minute that I saw Lauren's mom, in the beginning when they're kind of just setting up like who's who, I said, she's interesting looking. And I don't know why, but I had a feeling. Let me see, is it on here? Because I want to be as accurate to my knee jerk reactions as possible. I didn't write it on here, maybe because I thought it was mean, but I was just like, I could see her being jealous of her daughter. And I'm not going to elaborate. Chica, please. I'm not going to elaborate further on that right now because when the time comes, oh, yes, baby, I'm going to say everything I want to say. But, it's fine. But the mom, so once this starts happening and they're recognizing that, like, it's affecting Lauren, like her emotions and how she's acting or whatever like that, she says that she told her to just ignore it. To, like, oh, this is someone just jealous of you, whatever, just ignore it. Excuse me? Because at that point, like, it's escalating and it's someone saying that they know what she's wearing. You know what I mean? Like, the assumption is that it's someone at her school. But even at that level, to just kind of be like, oh, ignore it. No, we're not going to ignore it because this is weird and this is uncomfortable and this is scary. So I said, take it to the principal at least. But then Owen's mom, Chica, I'm not putting that up on the screen. So then Owen's mom says, no, we're going to take it to the school. We got to figure out what's going on. And I put Owen's mom, yes, because I'm like, okay, now we're getting to the bottom of it. This stuff is coming out as weird as far as I'm concerned. So now the school is involved. The superintendent, first of all, jump back. Everybody in this town, like everyone they showed me, this felt like watching a Disney movie in the sense that, like, the problems and the mishaps and everything were so slapstick and like ridiculous. Like, the people were so inept, the adults, I mean, were so incompetent that it was wacky, to a level of wackiness. It just didn't feel real. But that being said, the superintendent, to jump right to, she could be sending them to herself for attention. I personally felt it was lazy only because of just a lot of other things he was saying. Like, again, those people were highly incompetent, and I have a frowny face I drew. The other girls also mentioned that, though. They were like, oh, we think she's doing it for attention. But mind you, they've already established that there's a bit of a rivalry between her and these girls. Like, they don't like her. You get what I'm saying? So I kind of take that with a grain of salt. It makes sense that they're saying that because she's Chloe's friend and Chloe does not like her. Chica says she's been silenced. Chloe does not like her. So I'm like, I guess you would say that she's doing it for attention or whatever like that. But I also can recognize that it's so far-fetched, it's so out of the realm of reason and whatever. I will give them that. Okay. It says, I said Mr. Boyer was on it. So I think Mr. Boyer was the actual principal of the school. And Mr. Boyer was the one that came up with, well, when you get a text message, let me know, we're going to check the cameras. So I felt like, okay, that's somebody that's actually trying to do his job in some kind of way. I like that. So then after that, they start talking about, it went from just being like, I won't say innocuous stuff, but just kind of like taunting things of like, oh, Owen loves me, he doesn't love you, you need to leave him alone, he'll be happier without you, kind of just run-of-the-mill nana boo-boo type stuff, to now threatening, oh, you need to die, or you need to, take yourself out, or I'm going to do it type of thing. That's where I'm just like, whoa, this is really like on another level. You know what I mean? Like, my mind is kind of blown here, and I can't imagine what, even if it's just like kid rivalry type stuff, jealousy or whatever, like, this is a sick individual, whoever it is, because it was never that serious. Like, let's look back at who we're talking about here. It was never that. You know what I mean? Like they're cute kids, but it's never that freaking serious, right? So it says Chloe having accusations of bullying from 7th to 8th grade. That stood out at me because it's like, okay, when they went and they were talking about Chloe being a bully, nobody, even the parents, didn't really deny it. You know what I mean? They had their own spin on it, but it was never denied that Chloe was a bully. So that was just established. Um, it said her parents saying people were jealous of her popularity. Yeah, like those things kind of stuck out at me. It's giving again very much so stereotypical Disney movie, Sharpay type of vibes. You get what I'm saying? That antagonist that just is that girl and spoiled and doesn't like the main character because the main character is likable type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, okay. Um, let's see. I said Owen ain't have no male friends because that ain't set right with me either. Every single girl was like, oh yeah, Owen was like such a good friend to me, and they had been friends for so long, and this and that and the other. However, that goes back to my point of they've been in the same building, they've been in school together since they came out the cooch, basically. You know what I mean? So again, I'll give them that because this is a transitional period. They're just getting into adolescence here. So I can give it that, but I'm like, dang, like they ain't mention him having no kind of male friends ever. You get what I'm saying? They ain't even showing him playing sports with any other guy. I know they do, but you get what I'm saying? Like it's all around his social life with the girls. That was just okay. Um, I put here the superintendent was useless in all caps. It said not because he didn't let the parents in. Oh, this was when the parents, some of the parents or whatever, was talking about wanting to be up in the school. And he was like, oh no. But it was like he would just be like, no, we can't do this. Like when they said something about taking the phones from the children. Oh, well, the teachers need the phone. I know I wouldn't be nothing without my phone. Who said anything about the staff needing to put their phones away? Take the phones from the children. Like my daughter, different schools and situation my daughter have been in, daughters have been in, they will take the phones. You got to put them in special pouches for the day or whatever, and then you got to get them unlocked at the end of the day. You get them back or whatever. So it's not like it's never been. It's unheard of. You know what I mean? And what do these kids need with their cell phones during the day if there's an extenuating circumstance like this? You know what I mean? Like something needs to be done if we're at least trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. And yes, she has been hitting it out the park with her videos lately. They were useless, very much so. But I think the superintendent, more than anybody, like he just gave very much so bureaucratic complacency, did just wanted it to fix itself type of thing. You know what I mean? Didn't want to dig too deep because maybe he had some stupid stuff going on that he just very much so gave lazy and or incompetent. Um, it said the messages implicating Chloe when it wasn't her, because it was showing, when she went to Florida, and then the the messages kind of trying to pinpoint and say, oh yes, now they're coming from Florida, and now it's saying specific things about what's going on with it. Like just that was blowing my mind, the level of details this individual had. You get what I said? The level of access to the information this individual had was just really creeping me out. Like I know they had to be really scared. You know what I mean? Like that's scary to me. Just this feeling of somebody just knows your every single move. You know what I mean? Let's see here. Okay, I said I believe Adriana was bullied by Chloe and Sophie because Sophie's attitude. So y'all remember when they were showing Sophie and then they brought Adriana. First of all, justice for my girl Adriana. I felt so bad for her because they brought her in to basically paint her out as, their whipping boy if she was getting bullied and stuff. And then they just threw her away. You really didn't hear nothing else about her anymore. But I said I believe Adriana was bullied by Chloe and Sophie because again they never really said, oh no, we didn't do it. They would just always kind of spin it. It said Sophie's attitude, but still suspect. I think I still did suspect Adriana at that time. but it was something Sophie said and the way she said it, and she just had like this smirk on her face, and she kind of cocked her head a certain way. I said, "Oh yeah, they was bullying her. They was bullying." She said, "You are dragging these adults." I would listen, girl. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just it's too crazy. It's too freaking crazy. Owen, so there was a point where they were talking about how like whoever it was that was sending the text would be sending the text all night long to where they would wake up to like a barrage of texts in the morning. And Owen said, "Oh, good morning to you too," like sarcastically. That sent me. I was screaming. I had to replay that part because he was over. He said, "Oh, good morning to you too." I was screaming. Yes, free Adriana. They did her so bad. They did her so bad. So I put on here always a nigga. And the reason I put on here always a nigga is because the dad. The dad. So my problem with the dad was as you're going through, like they're doing these interviews with everybody, right? They're sitting with individual people. So at this point, I've seen Lauren talking on camera. I've seen Owen talking on camera. I've seen Lauren's mom talking on camera. I've seen Lauren's dad talking on camera. I've seen Owen's mom talking on camera. I've seen Chloe talking on camera. I've seen Sophie talking on camera. I've seen Adriana talking on camera. I've seen Chloe's mom and dad talking. I've seen a bunch of different people talking. I saw the dad talking on camera, but the dad wasn't, to me, he wasn't giving as much as any of the other people, like specifically Lauren and the mom or whatever. And the things he was saying was indicating that he really didn't have too much to do with what was going on. You know what I mean? Because at one point he said something like, "Oh yeah, because I'm like, what's going on? Do I need to go up to the school?" And she's like, "No, I'm handling it." And he's like, "Oh," I'm like, "Okay." But at this point, like, it's done escalated to these really scary places. And I'm like, you're not paternally, as a parent, concerned enough to want to get more involved. You get what I'm saying? Like, it was wasn't setting right with me. But what really set me off, because I had kind of noticed it but not noticed it enough, but this thing that I'm about to say is what made me go back to that and be like, yeah, he really isn't involved like that. Like, he don't seem to care. And so what it was that he said, "My wife isn't focused enough on me." He was talking about how, like, his wife, something was going on with their finances. At this point, you don't know that the wife is the one that manages the finances. You just know that he mentions that their finances are a little wonky at this point and they've had to move a few times. And he's basically talking about the inconvenience of, the financials being out of whack. And he also says, "And yeah, my wife isn't giving me enough attention." And that triggered me because I'm just like, always, that's lit every time it's going to be a man whining about not getting enough attention. Your daughter is literally in crisis right now, being stalked and threatened, her life. You know what I mean? And you're not getting enough attention. And I wouldn't have felt as upset or annoyed by it again if I had heard him give more, like he was more involved with what was going on with Lauren and in tune with what was going on with Lauren. You get what I'm saying? Mary says, like, "Why didn't you knock down some doors and get some damn answers?" Exactly. Exactly. So, I said, "How were they getting other people's numbers?" Because mind you, at this point, I still don't know it's the mom. I still don't know it's the mom. So, like, at this point, I think she had, oh, dang, I done gave it up. Anyway, I don't know who it is at this point. And but at this point, the little boy and Lauren have broken up, and he winds up getting a new girlfriend. Like, time has passed, and he winds up getting a new girlfriend in a different county. And the person gets that girl's mother's number and starts the mess with her. So I'm like, how did this person get the number? And then the very next thing after that is, I knew something was off about that bitch. Let me bring her back up. Let me bring her back up. Mm-hmm. I knew. In fact, no, we not even going to do this one. We're going to do. Do I have the other one? Oh no, I don't have it. I didn't put it in here. I ain't gonna worry about it. I was gonna do her mugshot. But yeah, it's this is this fugly bitch. It was her. So what happens is the FBI gets involved. The FBI gets involved. And they're like, okay, mind you, this has been going on for 2 years at this point. And the FBI person comes in and is like, okay, well, what do you have going on here? Like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, we got this, we got that, we're doing this and that. And he's like, well, did anybody feel it pertinent to kind of check the IP addresses of the numbers that is contacting these people? And they're like, oh, no, I don't know. So he's like, all right, let me go ahead and do it. So then he goes and does his job, and he checks the IP addresses, and he's checking it against, the children. And they're like, nope, it's not coming up for any of those numbers. And so then he starts checking, other adults and stuff. He said, let me go to adults. And then finally, because the last person you would think they put her number in is her number. So the IP address being the I guess the number that is supporting the internet that she is using to use the apps to try to mask her number. You get what I'm saying? So they're able to trace it back to her phone number as the number. Yes, she does have a punchable face. But I'm saying I picked up on that when I first saw her. It was something about her. I was just like, I was not thinking that she would be doing, especially once they started talking about all of this. I was just like, oh yeah, like the specifics of what was going on. I was like, oh yeah, I wasn't thinking it could be her. But I felt like, oh, what if she was jealous of her daughter or something? I could see her being jealous of her daughter because she's so daggone funny looking. That really what it come down to. Please, Chica. So I have fuck that bitch with the periods in. I said, get the fuck off her. Off. Because she kept okay. Okay. I gotta calm down because it's pissing me off. The more I think about it, it's pissing me off all over again. It's getting me upset. So they come to the house. They're like, "Hey, we need to talk to you." She's like, "Okay." They go in the house, and this screenshot you see here is from what's that called? Cop cam. I forget what they call it when the cops wear the camera. So they're in the house and they're explaining to her that the jig is up and that they have the information on her. And initially they're like, oh, it's coming from your phone. She's like, no. And they're like, yes, it's coming from your phone. We know. And then finally she admits that she has been doing it. So then they're like, okay, well, we have to tell Lauren and we have to tell, everybody involved. And she's like, oh, well, I'm worried about her. What about school? What the heck do you mean about her having to go to school? She's had to go to school with everybody knowing that there's some weirdo out in the street talking about her flat ass and titties and P and the V when it comes to the boy and like all this weird, crazy ass stuff that you've been saying to and about her. Body cam. Yeah. What are you talking about? So she's pissing me off is the point. You get what I'm saying? She's pissing me off. So then they bring the baby in there because they're like, they have to let her know. And she's sitting there in a chair next to her. And this woman is like just grasping for her hand and then wrapping herself around this child and everything like that. And no, Lauren did not have any kind of a reaction. She didn't have any kind of reaction, right? And I'll go into my theories about that later. So then they call the husband. This was honestly my favorite part of the situation, aside from Owen being like, well, good morning to you too. But this was my favorite part. So they call the husband. They're like, hey, you need to come on home because we got your wife here. And, she was the one that did it or whatever. So they come back. They meet him at the door. They're explaining what's going on. And he's pissed off because now everything's coming together in terms of why they were having all these money problems and having to move and this and that and the other. And so he's like, all right, then let's just go in there. Like he can't hold back no more. He goes in. So then he's asking her questions like, well, why did you do it? And what happened? And are you telling the truth? And this and that and the other and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, I haven't been working. So basically she's been out of work for about a year. and didn't tell anyone. She was still getting up and acting like she was going to work and doing all of these things or whatever like that. As they're talking about this, he's like, you got to go. You got to get it. And that was when I was like, thank you, Jesus. Finally, someone is acting like a real person in the real world. Because that was my initial thing. As soon as I found out, I was trying to put her out the house and I'm not even there. You get what I'm saying? But he was basically saying everything that I would have said well, not everything. Because I told you, she would have touched everything. You see all them bottles in the background there, all them bottles in the back? Every one of them bottles would have thrown at her head. She would have had to touch every surface in that house. I would have swung her by her hair. She would have hit every single wall, every mirror, every door, every table in that house, Jesus. It, it would have had to go down. But he said, hey, you got to go. Call your parents. Get your stuff. You got to go. This hoe decides that she's going to start wrapping herself around the baby and rubbing the baby's head and crying, I can't leave her. I can't leave. Excuse the fuck out of me. Excuse me. What do you mean you can't leave her? What do you mean you can't leave her? You have been torturing this girl and every other person in this goddamn town. Oh, ho, you going to get out of here. You're getting out of here today. You're getting out of here right. I would have swung on. I wouldn't have been able to contain myself. I'm so sorry. And I feel like the police would have let me. Well, maybe they couldn't because they had the body cam. But you get what I'm saying? I wouldn't even have cared. I would have had to knock out the chair or something. Something would have had to happen to her in that moment. I would have had to see it or experience it. You get what I'm saying? And so they didn't show her actually having. I would have liked to have seen with her parents. Like I would have liked to have seen more, but they just let her know that she had to go. And he let her know she had to go because she was in danger. Because he said, I don't know, like if you don't go, I don't know what I'll do. And so I said, finally. But even still, it wasn't about like she was hugging on Lauren, but she was hugging on Lauren as a form of self-soothing. She was hugging on Lauren like Lauren was a goddamn teddy bear. You get what I'm saying? Like that's how she was. She was not comforting Lauren, and he barely was even acknowledging Lauren. You get what I'm saying? Because he was so caught up in how he felt about how the wife had been carrying on and lying and stuff. Layla said that was peak psychological abuse when she started consoling her. Yes, that's what it's her just immediately wrapping herself around that girl, grabbing her hand and all this other stuff. Because to me, it didn't even feel like consoling her. Like I said, she was soothing herself. She was anxious. She was jittery. And again, we'll get into some stuff later because some people have some theories about, as far as like Lauren's reaction. But to me, I was very attuned to just how activated she was. And so, and how she just compulsively was using, like she was using that girl like a teddy bear. She was using that girl like a teddy bear. Let me see. I said, not you got me feeling bad for a man, but also where the fuck was he in all this? Because that's what I'm saying. Like he wasn't involved enough in the process. I felt bad because, he was talking about trying to maintain. He clearly was trying to keep things together. He did not. He was assuming that she had been working and everything like that. But still, I also say, like, what's wrong with you that, okay, she's supposed to still be working, but yet and still y'all keep getting kicked out of stuff, so she's in charge of all the finances, but the bills aren't getting paid. Because I'm guessing that he didn't say like they were getting evicted. He just kept saying they had to move. So it sounds like y'all kept getting evicted. And then when they finally like broke down the specifics of what was happening, they kept getting evicted. At one point they had to leave someplace and he went and got a storage. She was supposed to be paying all the bills and she wasn't paying the bills. So you're saying yourself that y'all moved about 3 times, and I'm assuming it was because y'all were getting evicted. At what point do you step in and go and talk to the people about what's going on and stop leaving her in charge of it, you idiot? Like that's what it was. So many people was getting on my nerves. It just didn't make sense. Mary says she's not new to this. She's true to this. I wonder what she's done beforehand to get that compliance from law. That's what I'm saying. It's not even it's automatic. You get what I'm saying? Like if you're around somebody, when you're dealing with dynamics, even with adults, there are dynamics that are at play that are automatic. So your responses are automatic. So I'm looking at her response in that moment where she is dead wrong, but she was acting like a victim the whole time. And and people, everybody except even the cops were treating her like, oh, well, still trying, you know what I mean? Like trying, and I'm not saying the cops should have escalated it, but you get what I'm saying? She was doing that white woman stuff. And I'm saying that Lauren is already trained to just be whatever she needs in that moment. So Lauren became a teddy bear. She wasn't moving. She wasn't reacting. She was just, you get what I'm saying? Um, let's see. It says, I want to fight this bitch. Oh, this is when she, this is when she, yeah, I don't even think it was on purpose, like I'm actively trying to. It's just automatic. There, you just don't get to process because it's the me show. You get what I'm saying? It's me, and a child being a child, you just adapt to whatever your caretakers are on. So you just learn to adapt. There's no language about it. They don't sit and tell you, hey, when mommy's upset, you have to take care of mommy. No, it's just kind of like, oh wait, mommy is upset. I'm gonna adapt and be quiet, or I'm gonna adapt and not get on her nerves, or I'm gonna adapt and I'm gonna comfort her, or I'm gonna adapt and even though I don't want to be around her, I'm just gonna let her keep hugging. You get what I'm saying? Like it's just automatic. There is no discussion about it. Why are you please, Chrissy? Just so confusing. Yeah, it is. I'm saying, listen, I'm still unpacking certain dynamics and stuff with my own caretakers as a child. You know what I mean? Where I'm in my 30s. Well, now I'm not in my 30s now, but it's only been in my 30s that I've started recognizing certain patterns and recognizing that I was going to have to step up for myself and advocate for myself in ways that made me uncomfortable because I didn't want to challenge and I didn't want to be called disrespectful and I didn't want my mommy or grandmommy or auntie or whoever to think that I didn't appreciate everything they'd done for me. Like these things, these dynamics are really complicated, and we're talking about it just in a general sense of regular life. But we're talking about a girl who's been through so much trauma, and the only source of comfort is the drama, is the perpetrator. You get what I'm saying? Like I just can't. Let me see. Oh, because she said most people break the law but don't get caught. What the hell do you mean? This is not even, this is not you embezzling funds from a company or something. You know what I mean? Like this is not something, and even that's not a mistake. Because she was like, oh, people make mistakes and people break the law all the time. But I'm saying, let's just go with your viewpoint, your perspective for a moment. Yeah, there are certain things that people, depending on the circumstance, I might see why somebody would roll the dice. You know what I mean? Oh, you think this company makes a whole lot of money and they're not going to notice it, and I do so. You rationalize taking money from a big corporation. Okay, I'll give you that. You're still going to get in trouble, but I can see why you would take that chance, right? But this was your daughter. Like there was no gain in this. There was no reason for this. There was nothing, no way that this would end well. You get what I'm saying? She said, I turned to TV on. Girl, my flabbers were gasted. Okay, the caucasity of it. I said her talking about dragging her own insecurities through Lauren. Wow, relevant. So this was upon my first watch. I was like really struggling and trying to find the sense in this. So when she says, okay, they're like, why were you doing this? What happened? And she's like, okay, she swears up and down that she didn't send the first text. And I think she's saying she didn't send the first text because that is what her whole entire story of doing this for Lauren hinges on. You get what I'm saying? If she was the one who sent the first text, it doesn't make sense It doesn't make sense at all. But you get what I'm saying? Like with her logic of, oh, well, I was trying to find the culprit, it falls completely apart if she was the first person to send the first text. You get what I'm saying? So I don't believe her. It says like quasi man. Not quasi man, please stop. Um, but she's talking about, okay, she lost her job and she sent the text. She said she didn't send the first text or whatever, but she gets involved with this thing that Lauren is going through. And in her mind, she's been through some things or whatever. So she brings it back to this idea of like, I was actually talking to myself when I was saying these things to Lauren, technically. And it's like, on the one hand, I'm like, okay, from a psychological standpoint of like, the way things, people, I always say you're going to get your lick back somehow. So if you're repressing something or you're unable to work something out in your mind, it can manifest in weird ways. You know what I mean? But still, the levels to which you took it, because okay, that explains you talking, you were using her as an avatar for yourself. Okay, fine. Why the heck were you talking so sexually to that little boy? Why the heck were you creating all these very explicit scenarios starring that little boy? You get what I'm saying? Why did you, once that boy left your daughter, because now they're no longer together like that. So let's just say, because she never said she didn't want them to be together. That's the thing. Like, she said something, some cockamamie bullshit about, oh, I was trying to protect her because I had been assaulted at that age or something. So I was trying to protect her. But she never explicitly said, like, I thought Owen was going to do anything, or I didn't think it was appropriate for them to have a relationship. She never said anything that made her breaking them up make sense. But at this point, they're broken up and he has a new girlfriend that doesn't even live in the town, and you went out of your monkey ass way to find that girl's mother's number and start that bullshit over there with them. You cross county lines with it. Honey, no. Yeah, fitness, this is about the documentary. It said, but her basically saying that, so when they're like, okay, you're saying that you were taunting her about your body image issues and this and that and the other. Okay, fair enough. Why did you tell her to kill herself? She says, oh, she could handle it. Because they were like, what if she actually would have killed herself? Oh, I know my child. She could handle it. You don't know shit, you dumb bitch. Because, and this is something I just said to that, because I'm like, okay, you also were talking about how Owen wanted to have sex and everything like that. What if you had pushed her to have, maybe she wouldn't have killed herself, but what if you pushed that girl to be like, oh, well, you know what, I actually do still want him to like me and I'm going to have sex with him. And then she get pregnant or something. Stupid idiot. I would have knocked them teeth down her throat. So anyway, I said the father not looking into the finances, ... ellipses, question mark, because like, the story that we're telling about how they just were, basically he just kept moving them to another house and still doing everything the same. Like, at no point in time did you think you needed to look into the coffers, sir. At no point in time, you're not a proper steward of your monies. I get that was your dynamic, that she handled the bill, but something was amiss. At some point, I'm going to need her to show me the receipts. I'm going to need her to show me the books. Because the math was clearly not mathing. Daniela says, other reviewers that I've seen have said they think the mom is a predator. I think so too. She's too gross and creepy. I definitely feel like she just did not have, or else she wasn't bold enough to, I think, honestly, that's probably where the vitriol came from, is that she wasn't bold enough to just try to cross the line. You get what I'm saying? And so because her daughter could potentially be experiencing him in that way, that's where all that, nasty anger, you're this, you're that, you need to kill yourself, resentment and vitriol came from. She said, ooh, I was literally about to buy that pot but couldn't justify. That was the same thing at the time, but like, I'm about to start work study again. So I was like, oh, let me go get my pot. But that pot was messed up. Oh, you can't even. You'll hear it later, fitness. But I'm talking to you. Um, it says she's a hunting wife. I have not watched that show, but I have. I saw a clip of it, so I'm getting the vibes you're putting down. Um, I said, this girl was left with nothing. She's clinging to this relationship with her mother. It's so sad. So it did bother me. It did bother me at the end when she was saying, like, how she was, well, not all the way at the end, but like towards the end after it comes out and everything. She's like, oh, I'm talking to my mom. We're pen pals, and they're showing the thing of her mom, and it's all I love you, I love you, I love you, and she's like, oh, that's my mom, and yeah, she said that, but I'm not really sure about that. That actually does kind of bother me, but I need my mommy, and I'm just like the poor girl again, because clearly her father was checked out. And I don't mean malicious. Like when I say her father was checked out, I don't mean maliciously. I just mean that like he just clearly he seems like a dullard. You know what I mean? Most of those people, most of those adults in that town seem pretty slow. I'm not going to like, because it was just like, what are y'all doing? Like I said, it felt like a Disney movie with a bunch of wacky characters and hijinks ensuing. You get what I'm saying? It just so happened to surround a very serious, like it felt like a Scooby Doo joint. You know what I mean? Like it was just really weird and wacky for no reason. Nothing was getting done. And I just felt like she lost her boyfriend. She never really had friends. You know what I mean? Like friends that they say, oh, yeah, this is her friend that she talked to and relied on or whatever like that. It was just her mom. So when I think about the fact that it was just her mom, when I think about the behavior that I saw her mom exhibiting in terms of just, again, sucking up all the air in the room, leaving, literally smothering her. At one point, like she was holding that girl's head to her bosom as the man is telling her she has to get out. You get what I'm saying? So like there was no room for that girl to develop a personality of her own, an ego of her own, to even go out and be a friend. Like when people are saying like, oh, she seemed antisocial, I don't feel like she's a fully developed person. I don't feel like she has her own personality as of yet. Now, a small silver lining in this is that, and I was so relieved at the end, like right before the credits roll, not right, but right before the credits roll, because right before the credits roll, they go back to when she's sitting in the pink room and she's talking all that, oh, I love my mommy stuff, just for dramatic effect to show that against all the different weird things her mom was saying in the text messages. But before that, they show her, she seems to be a little bit older, she's in a different space, and she's saying how she doesn't talk to her mother anymore because her mother is out at that point, but she's just like, yeah, I actually decided that I would rather not talk to her right now because I need her to get some help. Like, like basically I thought about it a little bit more and it doesn't sit right with me. Some things just don't sit right with me, and I need to see her take some steps to kind of unpack all why she did all that or whatever and be able to explain it a little better. So that made me feel better, leaving the story knowing that at least she seems to be on the road to establishing a sense of self and a sense of boundaries and all of that type of stuff. So I was very much so relieved about that. But I saw a bunch of codependency, all again, it was all there. It was all there, the way she just was completely enmeshed. Like she would, if she could have absorbed that girl back into her body in that moment, she would have done that. You get, like, if she could have just sucked her in, what's that called, osmosis, and just absorbed that girl back into her body, she would have in that moment. I know she would have. Let me cut that. So I'm gonna go ahead, if anybody wants to come up now, because that is the end of my notes. I am also, I'm very curious to see like what some other people had to say. Leela, please come on up. If Leela was the one that sent this to me to watch it. So it definitely, I wasn't entertained, but you know what I mean? Like I didn't feel like it was a waste of time. It was interesting. It definitely was interesting. Oh, wait. Oh. These are different things. Oh, this can get out of here. Yeah, this can get out of here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I I I don't think they said where the lady was anymore, like where the mom was living at, where she was at when she was doing the thing or whatever. But I'm glad that she doesn't have access to the girl. Um, but else the dad, oh yeah, I love you and this and that and the other. Like I feel like again, I never my annoyance with him wasn't even about this idea that he was doing anything maliciously, and that's what makes it, as my grandma would say, so damp and cool. He just genuinely doesn't give a fuck. He genuinely doesn't seem to care. He's so far removed from the idea that he even needed to care. You know what I mean? Because it was the way he would talk about stuff, but he was just like, "Oh, do I need to come down to the school? Well, no, she says she got it, so okay." And he would literally just leave it alone, like, "Okay, it's nothing for me." So that's where I'm saying, like, he seemed like one of those men that just felt like I'm a husband and a father. I'm a father in the home, and that's enough. You get what I'm saying? And doesn't see where he needed to step up more in everything. He literally just like, oh, I go to work and I pay bills. What more? What more do you want from me? Type of thing. You know, that's what I think it was going on with him. Let me see here. Oh, thank you, Chigra. I'm checking things. All right. Hey, girl, you done missed the whole thing. Did you watch it? You want to come up and talk? Because ain't nobody coming up and talking. Hey, 2Ls. I'm gonna put the thing back in here. There's really nothing else to say. We watched it again today. I wasn't able to sit the whole time and watch it, but yeah, we watched it again today, and I just, yeah, I don't like that hoe. I don't like her. I didn't appreciate anything. Let me get her off my screen because I don't appreciate what is it, everything that's going on. You watched it. What you gotta say? Come here. Are you still at work? Are you home yet? I mean, not come here. But are you home yet? Yeah, somebody else. I can't. I can only yell, but so much about this. Hold on, guys. I'm checking things. I can stop sharing this because y'all need. There's still her on my screen, and I don't like it. And I don't like it. God damn it. Oh yeah, that. You know what? Let me no. Let me share it again. Because in the meantime, we could talk about it because we had a little bit of a we had a little bit of a heated debate. We had a little bit of a sparring match where we were talking about the girl, because some people believe that Lauren was in on it. Some people believe that Lauren was participating, like whether it was Lauren that first sent the first text. They believe Lauren sent the first text and then the mom took it over from there, or that Lauren knew for a long time what the mom was doing. But I don't think so. And they were saying that because of her lack of response, because she was so, stoic, because sometimes she smirked or smiled or whatever, like they felt like her stuff was off. Who is this? It's two my my road dog, 2Ls. Hey girl. Give me 1 second to read this off. So I was saying that again. What I noticed was the mom. I felt like she definitely had sociopathic and narcissistic tendencies. I don't know. Again, I can't diagnose anybody, But I'm saying in terms of, because this is literally what I'm studying right now, we would do case studies where we would have to like kind of figure out what we thought was going on. I'm gonna go over, because I have my notes here, some of the things that I had picked out of based on what she said and stuff like that, that could be possibilities, but why I kind of ruled them out. So I was trying to see if I picked up on maybe like any kind of dissociative disorder. But when I was going back and referring to the different dissociative disorders, it didn't align with what she was saying, because the dissociative disorders, people either are not consciously aware, in their main identity, they're not consciously aware of what they're doing, or they say like they feel like it's not actually them or something. But she said the most she said was that she felt like she had a mask on, but she still felt like it was her doing it. She just felt, secure in her anonymity. So that's not disassociative, right? Um I was I was I didn't, because everybody throws around narcissistic and sociopathic and stuff like that. So I wasn't quick to want to do it, because in my mind I was looking for more of a cartoony, exaggerated expression of it. But in hindsight, it's like in a real world way, definitely. I wouldn't move so much towards narcissism though, only because with narcissism, I didn't see enough. She never indicated that she felt superior to anyone. You get what I'm saying? Like, so for me, I didn't necessarily feel like she was exhibiting any kind of narcissism, because she didn't express self-love. She didn't express anything that suggested that she felt superior or smarter than anyone, or any, you get what I'm saying? So I took narcissism out. But as far as like sociopathy, that was the only thing that I felt like she could possibly be exhibiting. And so then, due to the conversation we were having today, where we were going back and forth about whether or not, Lauren's involvement or whatever, I was pointing out that I felt like her responses were indicative of being a child of a sociopathic parent. So I went and looked up like what are the symptoms, or what are the expressions of a child that's raised by a sociopathic parent. So it says children raised by sociopathic parents often exhibit profound emotional and psychological challenges as a result of chronic manipulation. And she was definitely manipulated. Like I say, I felt like you saw a textbook example of the dynamic in that moment that was supposed to be about Lauren. And even with both of the parents, and I'm not saying the dad was a sociopath, like I said, I just think he just was not um emotionally available to her. But the mom was, touching her, holding her, crying, and oh yes, oh, I have to take care of her. All of that is manipulative. um as the challenges of a result of chronic manipulation, neglect, and abuse. They may show signs of depression, anxiety, and PTSD, with their development of trust and self-esteem severely hindered. So that can also, this is me saying, I'm not reading, that can also manifest as to why she was antisocial. If she does not have proper social skills, if she was not bred in an environment where her sense of self and her connections to people are built from a healthy basis, that would explain probably why she's not really able to click with other people outside of the house. It says a sociopathic parent's charming public facade, and she was charming. They said she was the life of the party. She was always ready to help. She was always involved in PTA and everything, further isolates the child who experiences a chaotic and emotionally neglectful reality at home. Emotional and psychological characteristics. So now I can go to the next one. This is where I circled the ones that really stood out to me. It says impaired emotional regulation. Because their feelings are frequently invalidated or ignored, and she was ignored, if not invalidated. She never even said anything. But I'm sure that's just because she already knew there was no point, because all that hullabaloo was going on. But she definitely was ignored. Like nobody really was tending to her in that moment. Children of sociopaths struggle to identify and manage their emotions in a healthy way. So that's what I'm saying. Like for any person who is not a child, recognizing that you're being betrayed, like even when the other boy's mom came up and they told her, she was like, no, it's not her. You get what I'm saying? So for anybody, that would be a lot to process. And in that moment, she's needing to process that, but she's not getting the room to process that. She's not getting the support to process that. She's actually having to manage her mother's emotions. Then her dad comes in and is kicking her mother out. Like there was a lot happening right there that I could see her just being shutting down, the way she seemed to. Disassociation. That's again what I saw with her. She was not reacting because she was disassociating, because what the fuck do you do with all that? As a defense mechanism against trauma, children may experience disassociation, detaching from their feelings and bodily sensations to cope with abuse. So if you're saying, well, why wasn't she reacting? Because she was not connected with her body, because again, her mom was sitting there bear hugging and rubbing all over and pushing her into her bosom when she was the fucking danger. It says people pleasing. To gain affection and avoid punishment, children often become intense people pleasers, suppressing their own needs and identity to seek external validation. That to me speaks to probably why she was so good at sports and everything, because her mom was, I feel like her mom was using her as an avatar to just do. Thank you to Els for coming up, by the way. I'm just coming back to the thing. But though that is my thoughts on what was going on. But to Els, go ahead, take it away. Thank you for coming up.
You know, that's why my picture is the way it is, because I wanted to. I love Twitter. I wanted to rumble with Kendra because, and shout out to Netflix for the storytelling, because the way that it sort of unfolded, Kendra was not the culprit in my mind in the way that the story was told. So for her to sit there, and someone said this on Twitter, how she sat there for an entire hour, the first hour of the show or film, and as if she wasn't the person who did it. It's so weird. I was just like, oh, okay, this lady is a bona fide sociopath, because she is completely disconnected from her role in her actions and what happened to her daughter. It's just like, it was frying me. So I wanted to be her. I did. Um, I felt bad for Lauren, because I cannot even imagine. You're sitting there, the sheriff comes, or whoever he was, they come, and you're like, yes, you're finally about to get some news or something. And the whole time you was chilling in the backyard with the person who was saying this atrocious things to you. 720 pages of just diabolical messages. And I was trying to understand, how does a mother, scratch that, not, I'm not even just going to say mom, how does a parent vocalize or verbalize that type of rhetoric to your child? I don't, I, that part is still
I was
gray.
trying, like when I first was watching it and then the reveal came in or whatever, I was trying to suppress I was trying to suppress my instinct to want to like try to jump through the screen in time and drag that hoe around the house. And I was honestly trying to understand. You know what I mean? Not empathize, but understand.
Right.
And so everything that I would, every time I would get to a point where I was kind of like, okay, like for instance, when she was talking about kind of projecting her feelings about herself onto her daughter, I said, okay, maybe I could kind of see how she got there with that. But then, like I said, all this other stuff comes in. Why were you talking to that boy sexually like that? You know what? Like there were
Yeah.
so many other aspects of it that was just like, yeah, but you didn't have to do that. Like that's not about what you're trying to say it's about. You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it didn't fit.
I was like, girl, what? What is, ugh. It was disgusting. I also had a problem with the, listen, I get it, boys and girls, or non-binary, those kids in that phase, like they think they are in a real live relationship. I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of bothered with how the parents allowed that to play out. Like, oh, they're the golden couple. Like, excuse me, like, fine, y'all can, y'all can, hang out, relate, because I think children should, boys and
Well, you
girls
know, again,
should learn how to.
we're talking about middle America, white people, maybe lower middle class white people. The expectation is that they're supposed to pair, like even if they go to school,
Hmm.
she's supposed to go to get her Mrs. degree. You get what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right,
it's like I understand how they're just like, oh, cute, they boyfriend and girlfriend. And honestly, as a parent, if it's a controlled, it seemed on the surface very wholesome. And if it wasn't for that crazy bitch, it would have been.
right. I guess the whole like, oh, they're the golden couple, that kind of bothered me. I was like,
No, I can see it because you like, why are you pushing these things onto these baby? Like, just let them be kids.
just
But
let
yeah,
them be kids. Yeah.
I mean, but the thing is, even the way Owen and baby girl were talking about this, they weren't putting all that on it. You get what I'm saying? Like they were just like, okay, yeah, he's my boyfriend or whatever. But it wasn't
Right.
like, oh, he's the love of my life and I can't live without him and we gotta hug up and kiss up. It was just literally like he's friends with everybody else, and she was fine with him being friends with everybody else, but she was his girlfriend.
Right. Yeah. I just felt like the adults was taking it. The agenda, right? The agenda that they say people push,
Right, the
like the
straight
gay
agenda,
agenda, but
the heterosexual agenda.
that's an agenda y'all are pushing. Like y'all be trying to marry y'all kids off at 12. It's weird. Like they don't
The
even know
heterosexual, yeah,
themselves.
because they like, oh, we hanging. But I'm again, idyllically, because and this is me being real about who I am, right, and who I was as a child or whatever. I was dipping and dabbing where I could, not doing, what the lady was saying in the thing. But you get what I'm saying? A little kiss
Yeah.
here, a little touch there, or something like that is natural
Right.
that at that stage of development. So it's like there are some parents, and I am the type of parent that if it was an environment that it seemed like a very controlled environment where everybody knew everybody and everybody was cool with everybody, and like
Right.
it could still remain wholesome and
Right.
develop.
Exactly. And again, as a person who had I called myself having a little boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
It remained wholesome because straight up and down, my peoples ain't play that. It was like, ain't nobody, my parents would step in and be like, you don't even know yourself, why that ain't your husband. I think the parents should have kept it wholesome and let it kind of play out. But break, who's it? Chloe and her mom. Chloe, I didn't think that was right that she got blamed, but also Miss Mamas gave a little bully energy. She really did. Her mom, she was like a chip off the old block. She acted just like her mom, and I was like, I can see why people thought it was you. You would have been an easy culprit because of the way you present, young lady. But you're not gonna tell me that you don't be giving those girls that energy in school. Like, I don't want to hear it's like, oh, because I'm a competitive person in sports. Like, nah, Chloe, you give a little mean girl energy on the low. And then meeting your mom, I was like,
No,
kind of
oh yes,
see.
Chloe. First of all, the way, and it's so funny because it wouldn't just be just what the girls or whatever would say. The people themselves, the parents, the children or whatever would be like, and then the girls reactions to it would just be like, oh yeah, I know you was bullying them people, I know it was especially when they brought that poor little girl, the boy's cousin, Adriana,
Yeah,
when they brought
yes,
Adriana in, literally just to be like, yeah, and this poor weirdo was getting bullied, and they thought it was her because they thought she was, again, Disney Channel trope. She's the disgruntled weirdo kid that's trying to
right.
get revenge on the popular girls type of thing. And it's like when they were talking to the little girl Sophie about it, and
Hmm.
Sophie, she just got this smile on it, this smug ass smile on her face, and she kind of cocked her head to the side, and she was just like, "Oh yeah, Adriana was like." I was like, "Oh yeah, they were bullying her. They were
Yeah,
definitely bullying her."
Yeah, I was like,
They
yeah,
were most
yeah,
certain.
y'all not beating those charges. I don't care
Yeah,
what
and
y'all say.
even the parent, the way they were describing the situation, they're like, "Oh yeah, we just think people are jealous of her because she's a leader." What the fuck does that even mean? So she's a queen bee of a clique? Is that what you're saying? You know what I mean? Like, why do they need leaders? They need peers. They need friends. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, what
Exactly.
are you? Come on now. Okay, if that's how you want to view it, that's fine. Running Cell says, vitamin. If this was a case study, I would apply factitious disorder imposed on another to another mother, and for layman that's like Munchausen. And yes, definitely, like it did give, and the people, the inept people were saying, oh yeah, we think it's like Munchausen, and like she was creating this situation where her daughter needed her. But that just leans more into, for me, that idea of like, oh, she made it about her. She created this problem for the baby, still did not fully support her in it because it was always about her. And like, yes, I do see that there, in that she would, create a problem for her daughter, a situation that her daughter's going through, where she's now the hero and the caretaker, and oh, poor her or whatever. However, I will say, I would have liked to get more information on exactly like what her care for Lauren looked like. And I know they had to get a lot in, to be able to cover the whole situation. So maybe they couldn't. But I kind of would want to see more. And this is not me trying to discount that theory, but like see more of the actual dynamics of like, okay, when was this like when would she be triggered to fuck with her? You know what I mean? Like, when would she
Yeah.
just decide it's time to start texting, and what would trigger her to do it? And then what was the actual payoff for her in it? Like, how would Lauren react that would make her feel like she was getting that hit of dopamine? You know what I mean?
So was it during the time when they had the game, right? I think was it a basketball game?
Mm-hmm.
And did Lauren's team win? I guess they won, and that's when she sent the message about um you played like ish and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I guess it's around every time that
She did something that stood out, or was like,
yeah.
so okay, yeah, that makes sense. And even just seeing her, because you texting about what she wearing and everything, her flat ass and stuff. So clearly, you seeing her and you like, oh, she looks cute today. Let me fuck with her. Um, Layla asked me some questions, some really good questions. Do you have any mom friends who are jealous of their children or don't want the best for them? What would your advice be to moms who are battling these kinds of feelings? That's an amazing question. Thank you for that. I don't have any friends that I could think of off the top of my head that I feel like are jealous of their children. However, I have friends who have like, okay, so when we became mothers, like they would have issues with their mothers because it would seem like their mothers were like trying to sabotage them somewhat. Um, like they would offer help and maybe they would be giving help, but then they would withdraw it. Um, and stuff like that. So I think that as a mother, definitely it comes down to doing that work of, hey, Leela, it comes down to doing that work of like, first of all, you have to be able to admit to yourself that something is wrong. You have to feel like, even if you're doing this stuff, you have to feel like, I know this is wrong and I don't want to do this anymore. So if the mom doesn't care, if the mom thinks they're righteous for doing that stuff, then they're not going to want to change. But if you're someone who is like, I'm feeling compelled, this is compulsory behavior, but I want to stop, you kind of have to get to the root of, okay, what are you actually feeling, and where does it apply to you? You know what I mean? What is it you're feeling about you in that moment? Why can't your daughter be great in that way around you? What do you think that says about you? And you kind of have to do that work of exploring that. And it says, how do you suggest daughters deal with that? So when I would be talking to my friends in those moments or whatever, I would point out to them what I saw in them that might be triggering their mother. So for instance, like if they're being a particularly good mother in a particular kind of way, or if they're just mothering better than their mother. They're holding things together, they're being more responsible, their priorities are more in order. I would point out to them, like, well, you told me your mom used to do this, your mom used to spend up all your money, or your mom, wasn't caring for you in the way you appear to be caring for your kids. I think that it's because you are demonstrating how to be a better mother than they can't deal with it. Instead of being happy and proud of you, they're viewing you as competition and they're feeling diminished in that moment. So I just would just kind of give them my observations of what I was seeing to help them, even though that doesn't change the fact that it hurts, but to help them put it in perspective. Hey, Layla.
Hey, how are you guys?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. How are
Thank you
you?
so
Good.
much for giving me this good content.
I was just like, I want to hear a mom's perspective, but I had just watched it last week. So, yeah, your answers are good. I mean, everybody's going to have their own things to deal with, and you can't control people at the end of the day. Um, and sometimes these are just the cards people are dealt. You don't get to choose your parents or your family. But yeah, no, I think that's good feedback. But I do think one thing about the daughter, I really do, like you were saying earlier, you didn't start realizing things like about your family dynamics and how it affected you until your 30s. I think that's the experience of a lot of people. And that's what was like, oh, I'm thinking is going to happen to this girl is it's going to take her because you don't really fully realize it because you're not fully like living your life and having these adult relationships and going through, you're really in a sheltered environment. You only have to experience a certain like level of things, and some things you're not even exposed to as a child yet or as a teenager. So yeah, that can make it really difficult later on down in life. And I think that's why people say psychological abuse oftentimes is more harmful than physical abuse. Um, so yeah, but
Most definitely.
And I wanted to, before you move on, it was something you said in your live, um, what was that, the other day, about how it depends on where you were in life when you had your child and what space you were in. And I was having a conversation with another mom myself 2 days ago, and she was saying, talking about why she is estranged from her mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, this was not throwing her mom a bone, but it was something that I read, and it talked about how wherever the mom was in her life at that time, if she felt like the child, regardless of gender, was sort of like a disruption,
Mm-hmm.
or they weren't
Mm-hmm.
prepared to be a mom and show up, it's almost like this child who is advancing, and I guess going beyond whatever goals and aspirations they had for themselves. And for some parents, they're proud of that, and they're like, yes, I want my child to be more and achieve more than I did, right? And for some parents, it's like, it's a reflection of what I could have been and what I
Mm-hmm.
am not, and they tie it to that child, like, and it's because of you, this is why I'm where I am. So I think that does take a little bit of deep reflection, but it just, I think that all ties into what you just said, because you really just talked about this in the live the other day.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, and I've experienced instances where, like my maternal figures at different points in my life when I was doing particularly well, I was getting weird energy. And in hindsight, I did know what it was, but I to because of because of my ethos about not taking no shit from people who, haters and people that don't mean you well. What do you do when it's your foundation, the people that have nurtured you and fed you and grew you to where you are, the people that consciously love you and invest in you and choose you are showing up in that way. You know what I mean? Like, and in those moments, just kind of pushing it to the side or just being like, no, I ain't see what I saw. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, when she and I were talking, I told her, I was like, I don't think that's something that you should push aside. It is just a perspective to say, like, oh, this person may be operating this way because she really wants a relationship with
Mm-hmm.
her mom, and but it's difficult,
Yeah.
obviously, with the dynamic. So it's like, how does one show? How do I show up? What do I do? How do
Well,
I improve it? Similar to what Layla's question
yeah.
was, like, how
The
does
thing
somebody
is,
deal with
though,
that?
because this is what so, for me, when it comes to like specifically my mother, I've told y'all many times, I do not interact with my mother. Um, my mother has never been mean to me. My mother has never she's never been around for real to like beat me or anything like that, cuss me out, hate on me, do anything like that. For me, and whenever my mom would come around, because she always lived out of state for the most of my life, she lived out of state. But whenever my mom would come around, it would be like, oh, it's such a wonderful time because any bit of my personality that you like about me, my mother is that. You know what I mean? She's warm, she's funny, she take care of you, she's pleasant, she's unassuming, she feels safe in a real way that I feel like is authentic to her. However, when it comes to the dynamic of her being my mother, I did not have someone who I could go to and like she doesn't know me. We don't have a relationship. Like when she was around, we didn't talk. You know what I mean? She didn't call me. She didn't check up on me. She wasn't interested in my day. She was not interested in me. And there were things that I noticed about her when I was around her. So for instance, I noticed how much of her time and energy and effort that she would put into getting and keeping men. And so, as her child and as someone who loved her but didn't have no real qualms with her, like outward qualms and say, oh, yeah, she's mean to me, I couldn't say any of that. But I also didn't have anybody around me to help me process and go, yeah, but it's still a problem that she's not emotionally available to you. So, I'm walking
Right.
around feeling that, but not having language for it because I don't feel it's appropriate. You get what I'm saying? And so it's like you have to
Yeah.
get to a space where you, number one, can even contextualize what you're feeling in that way to then make an evaluation of, okay, now what the next step is, what does this mean? Then it becomes, what do I do about what this means? You get what I'm saying?
Yep. And that's where, in that conversation, she said for her peace and for her mental health sake, she had to make the decision to go no
Yeah.
contact,
And that took time.
because it's like, I don't she doesn't have like, how do you explain it, how do you
Yes. And she
rationalize that,
needed
and she spent so much
but
of
she
her life
needed
trying to
time
figure it out.
to be able to
Yeah.
process that. And imagine if her mom was around, she wouldn't have had time. Just like in that moment, she wasn't given time to process. Her mom was grabbing on her and grabbing for her before the girl could even register what was going on, to even feel anger or anything to go or whatever. You get what I'm saying? So in her mother's
Yeah.
absence, she was able to kind of go, wait a minute, you know what? Yeah, no, that just like we would, that doesn't make sense. Like I know what she said, but that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. At the end of, like, I feel like the reasoning, of course, is more complex, but I think sometimes parents do these things or treat their excuse me, treat their children this way consciously and sometimes subconsciously due to their own unresolved trauma or like their own toxicity that they choose to participate in, their own bad thoughts that they choose to give into. And just like you guys were saying, I think, well, what I found to be helpful is having strict boundaries with these people, these parents, whatever, your mom, whoever it is, and just being selective about the info you share with them, what kind of access they have to you, and also like what kind of topics you'll engage with them in, and what kind of things you'll even listen to them talk about, because sometimes they try to put this like parentification on you and have you coddle their feelings and parent them, and it's just like a mind mess up. So I don't know, I think boundaries are the best thing. And I do think a lot of times, not all the time, but you guys like, I think a lot of times being male identified is also a reason sometimes. I know there's other things like they can be jealous of your youth, the opportunities or the confidence you have to like go to college or whatever it is. Um, but yeah, I just think it's so weird. It's just so interesting. But yeah.
No, it was definitely like there was so much there. There was so much there. So I don't know what I was expecting, but I definitely wasn't expecting that. And for me, like I said, I'm glad that by the end I was able to see indication that baby girl is starting to build up some of that sense of self to be able to separate, because definitely out of anything that if we're trying to diagnose or whatever, there was definitely codependency there, you know what I mean, between her and the daughter.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that she was able to utilize that time away to start building her own sense of self enough to get to a point where she's like, yeah, you know what, in hindsight this don't sit right with me, and even though I may not have a full understanding of why, it's enough for me to be good on you for now, you
Did the
know.
daughter say that? Lauren said that?
Yeah, towards
Oh,
the
she
end.
Yeah.
did. Oh, I
Yeah,
missed
so
that.
Hmm.
right before they sandwiched it in enough so that it is easy to miss. But basically, you know, at first she's sitting in the pink room and she's talking about, oh yeah, I love my mom and I need my mom, and we're
Yeah.
talking and they're showing all the messages, you know, while she's in jail. But then it gets to a point where she's in another room. It's more of like a blue gray room.
Hmm.
And she's like, yeah, you know what? This is after her mom is out. She's like, yeah, me and my mom don't we're not in contact right now. Honestly, I kind of don't want to be in contact with her right now because I need basically like I need to see her get herself together. And she didn't go into specifics about what that would look like for her, but she just basically was like, yeah, she's not, I don't, I'm going to paraphrase and say, I don't feel safe enough around her right now. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah.
And so, like, I would need to see her working on herself in a particular kind of way in order to feel comfortable, you know, trying to reestablish a relationship. But for right now, we're not in contact. And I was like, okay.
No, that makes me happy because you know how people who've watched it, they've been thinking that the star of the text was on the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, if the daughter's like pulling back, which I don't, I mean, obviously I don't know, but I really do think it's the mom the whole time.
Yeah.
But I feel like now that I know, I didn't catch that for whatever reason, but now that I know she did say that, it makes it less likely for me to believe that the daughter was in on this whole thing.
Yeah, I'm saying like for me it was always a thing of like, what do you expect somebody a baby to do when their mommy, and you see the mom again, you see the mommy actively smothering her. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
in that
Yep.
moment, she was smothering her, which the moment itself was should have been overwhelming, like to the
Hmm.
brink of insanity, right? Then this woman is literally physically like smothering her, encompassing her, you know, invading her space, not giving her space, literal space to process. Then your dad comes home and is kicking her out. You get what? So there was so much going on. And then in those moments, like when she was in her room talking about it, there's something about the way when she was like, "Oh yeah, I love my mom," and I remember again when I'm talking about like the voice she was making and her stature
The
when
smirk
I
on
was
her face.
yeah, when I wasn't the best mom. That's how my daughter used to talk.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like she would talk like, "Oh, everything is fine." But again, in the background, she would be, you know, stealing money from me and sneaking a boy into the house and doing whatever she wanted to do. But on the surface, everything was always hunky dory. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And so when I got better and when I started unpacking my shit, I realized that, like, oh, she didn't have room to, you get what I'm saying? She didn't have room to explore how she was feeling, and even to the point of like confronting me and saying, "Look, mom, I love you, but you need to tighten up on this." You get what I'm saying? We didn't have
Yeah.
that kind of relationship, so she had to get her shit off some kind of way. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I love that self awareness because I feel like I'm not a mom, but I feel like being a mom is not about being perfect at all. But I think when you're open to things, and I don't know, I admire you for that. So that's good. But I will say, I am curious because this mom, clearly, this isn't a one off incident. This is a part, like, this is something that she has done because her neighbors or that couple in the town said that Kendra had a reputation for lying. She's a dishonest person. She's known for that. And then I think in the documentary, they said she was lying to her husband for like the past 10 years about bills in her work life. So it makes me very curious what the home dynamics were like. Vitamin, I heard you mention that, but I'm really curious because I don't know. I could, I just feel like if we knew a little more about how the house was ran, what it was like living there, and also didn't they move 4 times in like the less than 2 years that this was happening?
Yes, that was so. I had the same question
Yeah.
because I'm just like, not even the same questions. It was a clear enough picture of the dad was just checked out. He just felt like going to work and handing over the money or making the money was enough. And he was leaving literally all of the, and this is not to try to go poor her, but he was leaving like all the actual day-to-day work of running the household and raising the baby to Kendra.
I
To
feel like also Kendra may have manipulated the dad into giving, you know what I mean?
I
Because like,
mean, yes, but I'm saying for me,
mhm.
it was just kind of like, and again, these dynamics are in place, and it's one of those things. Shout out to Concern when she talked about the frog in the boiling water all the time. It's one of those things where it's like it's innocuous. You know what I mean? Like it's not something that's overt, and you're like, oh yeah, this is my wife, and it's fine. Okay, yeah, I'll just sit back. Oh, she doesn't really necessarily like me. She might, have let me handle it a few times, and he's just like, okay, fair enough, right? And they got that far with her being in charge. So it's just like hands off, no problem. So I'm sure, yes, she did have them both trained in particular type of ways to just let her do her thing. But it's like once you're complaining about, oh, we had to move 3 times. Uh you didn't get uh
Involved.
curious after the second time as to, wait a minute, how did this happen again? You get what I'm saying? Because again, I'm
Yeah.
left to assume that y'all were getting kicked out of these places.
Yeah, he definitely has a level of culpability in this because you never like checked in, especially when the items in the daggone
That's what I'm
storage
saying. Like, why
unit,
are
now
you
your stuff
not
is getting
paying the bill? Why
sold.
are you repeatedly
Mm.
not paying the
Yeah.
bills?
And I can see that with Kendra, she came across clearly with the manipulative ways, like the control freak. Like she wanted to be in control of everybody and everything.
Yeah, but this is the problem for me when it comes, because the way she would control it is, it's like, oh well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like he was way too passive, and I'm not saying he should have been like a tyrant or mean or anything, but like again,
No, he
you
should have
ain't
been checked
yeah, you
in.
were completely checked out,
Yeah.
because it's like you see once she got caught, she don't see. I mean, and maybe that was just because the police was there, but she didn't seem like someone who would get violent and loud. She seemed like someone who would just play the, oh, I'm just a little witty woman, and then people would just, oh wait, oh sorry, like that type of thing. It's just that this situation was so extreme. It's like, no, girl, this ain't gonna work this time, you know.
But honestly, she presented like she wouldn't get violent and loud. I mean, maybe not violent, but I can imagine because you don't really know people until you live with them. I could imagine her getting. She may have been a yeller,
I
maybe.
mean, honestly, and you're right, because the way that girl shut down, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like she was just kind of there when stuff would go down. There was no room for her to be like, I'm uncomfortable, I'm unhappy, I'm scared, I need, y'all to focus on me and pull it together. She just kind of either had to disassociate, go into her own mind, or, comfort her mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a lot of her comforting her
Mm,
mom, because I'm pretty sure the moment she seemed like she didn't want to hang with her mom, you
mm,
know,
mhm.
teenagers get to a point where they want more independence away from their parents. And Kendra strikes me as the person to be like, but oh my God, you know, I'm a part of your, I'm a coach for your team, and you know, I do all this for
Yeah, that's what
you.
I'm saying. When people are like,
You know, pulling the
when
Being
people
manipulative
are
more
like, oh,
card.
covert.
she didn't have any friends, she was antisocial. Yeah, she probably couldn't have friends without getting some kind of pushback or retribution at home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see her being more covert.
Yeah.
I will say my little notes on the excuse me documentary. I wish they had a psychologist present in this episode. I mean, in the documentary,
Yeah.
like just someone to I don't know give a little more understanding, call out things that Kendra was saying that don't make sense because she was definitely giving excuses that didn't really make sense to me. Um, and then also at the end when Owen said he was mad at Lauren, I'm like, why are you mad at? I mean, okay, you can not want to talk to her. I understand that, but like, he was like mad at Lauren, but not Kendra. I mean, he didn't explicitly say not Kendra, but I just thought that was interesting.
We're like, why are you mad at Lauren as well? But
Yeah, like, do you not see the
Yeah, because
difference?
what was she gonna do against her
I was about to
mom?
say, didn't he say he was mad at her because she still was wanting to have a relationship with her? Yeah,
Yeah, that's her mother. Oh, where'd Layla
she'll
go?
probably be back. But I mean, but again, and I liken it too, and this is why I do this when it comes to these situations, because a lot of times, like we'll talk about a dynamic that seems like it's different, but it's the same. So what happens when we have a girlfriend who's in a relationship, a romantic or sexual relationship with a guy who is manipulative, who is not good for her? You get what I'm saying? We get upset too because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this person's not good for you. You know what I mean? So on the one, and then of course too, they're both kids. You know what I mean? So he can't
Right.
understand the complexities of like, yeah, but that's her mom. He's just like, look what she's done. You know what I mean? Like, this is
Right.
horrible. She's a monster type of, you know.
And I think
And
it's
he's not wrong.
because I said the same thing. Like, why you letting that like that? I would have told that lady unhand me with your crazy
Yeah, he's
ass.
not wrong.
But she's not my mom,
Yeah.
you know. So it's easy for me to
Mm-hmm.
say that being the person on the outside. It's easy for Owen to have rightful um, disgruntled feelings towards Kendra because that's not his mother. He's not as close to the situation as Lauren
Yeah.
is. And that's when I had to take a step back and say, oh, well, I don't know how I would have reacted if I had that type of relationship with my mom and come to find out those were the nasty, vile, disgusting things that she thought about me or said about me. You
Yeah.
know, I
First of all,
don't
you
know how I
told
would have
me
reacted.
repeatedly to kill myself. Then it wasn't even just like you told me to
Yeah.
kill myself. At one point, she said something slick like, "Oh, you end it, kill yourself, or I'll kill you." You know, type of thing. Like, oh, this is real. You'd have had to see
Yeah, it was
me. You'd have had
diabolical.
to see me.
Yeah. It's not funny. I don't mean to laugh, but it's just like, lady, damn the mask. What pits of hell were you residing in when you went to that? Like,
And then gonna say,
I don't know.
"Oh,
I felt like she should have went
everybody
to
makes a
a mental
mistake." This
institution.
was not a mistake.
That was a you did that, lady. You sent those texts. That a mistake.
This
I
was a
trip and I
lifestyle.
fall.
This was a mission.
Yes. You downloaded an app. You did the phone number scrambler. Like,
You went out your
you
way.
sat there when that girl got those text
Wait, you
messages.
tried to
You called the
frame. You
number.
tried to frame another kid.
Yeah. Yes, Alicia, it was very calculated. Like, that's what when she was like, but it was a mistake. And girl,
That's
no.
not a mistake.
See, I'm about to
Because
go off.
anytime you talk about some, oh yeah, I couldn't stop. You could though. You really could have. Like at any point you could, and then when it's getting escalated higher and higher, like when it went from the school to the police, that's when you should have been like, whoa, let me just stop. Because honestly, the way they were again so inept, they would have just let it slide.
Mm-hmm.
If it would have just stopped,
And
they
then
would have just stopped too.
and from the police to the dang FBI. Like, what the heck? So at no point
Definitely,
the
at
dude was
any
like,
point, if you were just on some stuff like, oh yeah, this is a mistake, whatever, you could have just stopped. You could have just stopped. And I get, like, okay, if it's an actual diagnosable behavioral disease or something like that, condition, I get
mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, you can't just stop. But
Right.
like, but you're sitting here. She didn't say, "Oh yeah, I'm in therapy." She didn't say, "Oh, I got a diagnosis." She's not. She don't even seem like she's looking to really truly get to the bottom of what She seemed completely at peace with what she's offered us in terms of a explanation.
Yeah. Yes. And Invincible, I don't know. I thought because they didn't really expound upon
They didn't. They
the
didn't expound. They just took whatever she said at face
yeah.
value. They gave her minimal pushback because even when she was like, "Oh, I was basically talking to myself when I was talking to her, and this and that and the other," and they even brought up. They said, "Well, what about like the sexual stuff? Didn't they? Did they ask her about that?" And like whatever. Oh no, they said about like kid. They didn't ask her about the sexual stuff. I don't think.
Right. No,
But
they
they
didn't
did.
really go into that either. They were just
No,
like,
they didn't ask. That bothered me too because like that doesn't align with the story you're telling. But they did ask her about, well, why would you tell her to kill herself, and what if she would have? And she's like, oh, I know my child. She never would have done it. So basically, like, oh, she was never in any danger of dying because I knew what she could take.
right.
And it's just like, girl, that doesn't make sense. Hey,
Again,
Tori.
she needs to be I just didn't understand why she wasn't put in a psychiatric ward. I'm really serious about that
Oh
because
no, she got off very light. That's what I'm saying. Like she needed to get touched. She needed hands, feet, and elbows put on her. She need like she doesn't get it. She doesn't get it.
no. And if she had the opportunity, I do believe she would do it again. She
Yeah.
just needs she needs a catalyst. She needs something to put her back in that because her level of manipulation and to the lengths that she'll go to uphold a lie because she wasn't even going to tell them about the other phone. She was like, "Oh
Girl,
no,
yeah,
this is
they
the
was
other
like, you
phone."
gotta go. He said, we'll tear this house up. That's what I'm like, and this is even after you're caught, even after the man is like, look, you gotta go. Like you're still playing these games.
Yeah, it was like
Hands, feet, and elbows. Hands,
all the
feet,
things.
elbows.
Oh, um, yeah, that was. But I think more topics like this need to be explored. I don't know what Netflix is going to do with a series like this because I don't know how you build upon it. I'm pretty sure it's not the
It's
only.
not a series. It's just I think it's a standalone documentary about this thing that happened.
Yeah, but I'm sure she's not the only person, the
Oh
only
yeah, they go.
child.
Netflix. They gonna whatever cockamamie story you got for them. They gonna make something out of it. What am I? I'm watching. This is old though. I started watching the one about the people that were in the cult, the TikTok cult where they was dancing and stuff, and they was going away from their families and all that.
What?
That was like a year, at least a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. That was trending.
Oh no, I didn't hear about that. Oh, let me find that.
Yeah, it's called Dancing for the Devil.
Wait.
Ah,
Oh, I would be interested in the story about the lady. I think her family thought she was missing. They reported her missing and come to
girl,
find
yeah.
out.
Listen, okay. Yeah, because I've been like, I forget. I have to go back into my little notes. I'll be sending myself stuff in this little pocket server in Discord that I can come back and I did kind of want to touch on that because she was pissing me off. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can find it. We might watch it right now. Let me see if I sent that to myself in there. Because girl, I was like,
Girl,
you're gonna get out of my face. You're gonna get out of my face.
uh, I just, I don't, the words that I don't have for this situation and the fact that all three of y'all are about to y'all getting evicted out of the damn park. Like,
Wait, who you talking? Oh, she said out the park. I thought he at least bought the land because remember there was selling land over in Scotland and stuff like that.
Oh, I thought it was just squatting. Oh my god.
I mean, I don't know for certain. I'm saying I just assumed that they were. I was hoping maybe it makes sense if they are just squatting. I'm not gonna lie, but I was just like, you know, I'm like again, I don't even. It's way too much craziness going on for me to even try to add that on top of it. I would hope that they are on land that they own. Let me see, missing woman, Scotland. Oh my God! Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. See, they're pissing me off already. They're pissing me off already. Hold on, I'm sending it to myself. Oh my God, cause why? What are y'all doing? This kiss on my nerves. No, not in here. Not in here. I want to see it on the big thing. Oh my gosh. Because what's wrong with people?
I am the inferior mistress, and I also play as a surrogate for the queen. I am also the bondwoman of the king, which means I do not have the formal title of a wife, but he is my husband, and we are a tribe.
Who?
Girl, girl, but that ain't even the one. I gotta find the one that really was like, they're fucking with me. Where is it? Hold on. I'm sorry. Let me turn it down. Cause I gotta find it's a clip of her where she's like addressing people that was looking for her, and she's like, leave me alone, I'm fine, you know, I'm in my right mind, y'all need to leave me alone type of thing. And then the woman, the wife, the actual wife, comes into the background and is dead. Child, please let me find it because y'all, oh my God, it's too much. Why can't I find? Oh no, that's him. That is him.
Oh no. What did
No,
you
I'm sorry. You gotta see because it's just showing the man and the woman. Y'all about to see this. Mm-hmm. Sure enough, you're gonna see it because ew. But they always got a look. They always got a look. Hold on.
Oh.
Kubala, Kubala, Ilizwe. Oh my Lord, I am so honored and so blessed to be your queen, your most beloved, your wife. In this moment, we've just hit our Sabbath and we've come to the end of our Sabbath today. And it's been pouring down all day in the kingdom of Kubala on this mountain. And in the past 30 minutes, we've just been out in the rain whilst it's pouring and pouring down.
Performing our rituals.
Yes, my king. We did our rituals in the rain. We are connecting to nature. We are returning to innocence. We are becoming one with this land. We are healing this land that has been polluted by Edom. This land has been polluted, has been desolate really. It's been taken over by foreigners. And we have come back to reclaim it as our land. Hence we are performing these rituals of becoming one with the soil, literally one with this soil. And we've been taught that rain, when it's raining, run away from it, hide from the rain. Yet we look at the horses. The horses are one with the rain. You see the animals, they embrace the rain. But we as humans, they say, go and hide from the rain.
But
That's
they
how.
won't show us. They won't shower in their house.
Yes,
They don't want the
they go
mattress.
under the shower, but you don't want the actual. That's a very good. That's a very good thing you've said, my lord. That's so true. They want to go under the shower to imitate the rain, but you don't want to do the real thing. You can see my hair is all wet. I've had a proper shower, a natural shower in the rain. The true meaning of a shower. And I think it's still raining a little bit. I can feel the rain is coming. So this is Kubala. We are one with nature. We are returning to innocence. Right now, Yahweh is destroying the world. As you can see what's happening around the world. The world is being destroyed. And the earth is giving birth. Yahweh is rebirthing his people. He can never do that without sending a sign, without sending his people. Gosh, I even have a red eye. And the water was just healing. I could feel the water just cleansing my red eye and healing me. Yahweh will never do anything on the earth. No transition can happen on the earth without a prophet, without sending somebody as a sign. If you read your Bibles, you will know this, that he will never do that. So we are the sign. We are.
I'm sorry because he pissing me off. He ain't moved from that spot, right? Every time you see him, he's staying in one spot. It's pissing me the fuck off. Listen, listen to me. That ain't even that's enough of that. We're going to see. This is what y'all really need to see. This is what y'all really need to see.
And Layla had the same question. Was that the real accent? Was like, what the hell? Not them cosplaying.
This is
Oh.
what you really need to see. This took me out.
And I do have the mental and physical capacity to know and make the best decisions for myself. So again, UK authorities, leave me alone. Lastly, to the tribes, the narrow road is one that is invisible to us on our journey to Kubala. So don't be frightened by the things that you see that I have endured in the hands of the UK authorities. Be not dismayed by the arrows of the Moabites, who are Zimbabweans, of the Egyptians, who are Black Americans, or by Esau. For the Messiah is.
Okay, I did. If you want to leave your country and live in the forests of Scotland with a cult, that's fine. But when that lady came out and started doing her little finger to the
Girl.
back, I lost it because any little credibility.
Girl, when I saw, I said, "Oh,
Yeah.
y'all really playing?" Because why couldn't you just let her talk? How was anybody supposed to take her seriously? And you saw when she was swinging the things, and then they got stuck together, and then she tried to play it off. Girl, was just like, no,
She
no.
could get out of here.
Oh my god, I'm
Oh.
tired, man. I'm tired. You got her. You got um live streams on TikTok, and they talking about daggone Dr. Umar. We don't know what's going on in his life. He probably taking care of stuff in the background in his life. You know, they always coming at the black men, and we always want our leaders to be like, it's too much foolishness. It's too much.
Who's the leader of what?
What's his
Umar?
name? What's his name? What's his real name?
Oh, Jermaine.
Jermaine Schumacher. Jermaine Schumacher. Child, she said a a Ghanaian man, a Ghanaian man, and a Texas woman would say, like, how did I can't even say how they meet. They probably met online. They probably met her, man. She said, "Are they from?" I don't know where those other people. That's what I'm saying. Like, how did they even get there? That's why my mind wouldn't even allow me to say, "Oh, they made a way to Scotland to go squat in somebody's woods." I'm sorry, I can't. I can't. I can't. But I do remember, like, there were some years ago or whatever. They were selling titles or something in like Scotland or Ireland or so. You get what I'm like, for not even that much or maybe a couple thousand. I don't know. I don't know. But she said y'all using his slave name.
Chica.
Umar Babatunde and everything about to be his slave name when they get him in the jail. Shoot, he played too much. Oh my god. But yeah, that was our little side quest for the night. I just felt like y'all need to see that. So do you have any final thoughts?
You know, mental health is a thing. Um, People are become parents just because they have the ability to procreate, and that's just what it is. It's not because they are fit to be most times. That someone impregnated someone and someone carried the baby to term, and that is that. But aside from that, I want to give you your flowers because you just come in with all of the content. You always have such a thoughtful perspective, um, that is not common, and I appreciate that about you because it does make the audience, think and open their mind. And when you receive new information, you're supposed to change your perspective. So I appreciate that about you. I think you're a wonderful mom. I think you have a
Oh,
great
thank you.
platform, and I think your spirit is amazing. I wish I could bottle it up and just spread it. And shout out to you on Twitter because I'll be dying laughing at your responses.
I be cutting up over there. I ain't even gonna lie. Like I gotta, like I said, you gotta. What I say, you gotta get your lick back or whatever. So I be just letting it go over there. I don't care.
Yeah, you're just all around an amazing person, and I'm so grateful to have met you, have broken bread with you, spent time with you, had conversations. So yeah, I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. I feel the same way about you guys. Like all the people, that I was fortunate enough to be able to meet in person. Thank you, Leela, for bringing it to me. And like I said, guys, any way that you have access to me, send me stuff if you want me to talk about it because it be a lot of stuff that I'll be seeing, but I'm like, this ratchet and stupid, and like I can't bring myself to pollute you with debauchery. But if you bring it to me and you already saw it, I'm like, okay, I don't feel so bad. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Um, but yeah, no, I appreciate everything that you said, and I'm grateful to be here in this space and time to be able to be of service in this way. I'm always trying to be of service. That's why it's so important to me to bring quality stuff and not just be feeding y'all, feeding the algorithm as they say and everything. And I appreciate having been able to meet and build a community of so many, like, honestly, you guys, sometimes I'm just like, wow, they really care what I have to say because you guys are so amazing and you guys work so hard and are so accomplished and everything. This is not me talking. I know sometimes people are like, oh no, it's not me talking down to myself. It really is like just I feel immensely blessed to be here and to be able to serve the way I'm able to serve. So I I want to let you all know that I appreciate you and I will continue to honor you back the way you guys have honored me. And I'm also looking for avenues through which and look out for like what are they called? Polls or whatever and stuff. Looking for avenues where I could create events where we can actually meet face to face, hopefully. Those of us who I haven't already met. You know what I mean? So, because I think that would be great. And I've been talking with Concerned about it and Wake Up and stuff. So, yeah.
You know I'll be there.
I do, girl. I do. We got to figure it out. Oh, also, I don't know who else here, but I'm telling you because you're here right now. I meant what I said about like us meeting again. I just, it got away from me. But yeah, look out for me to reach out to you guys about like meeting up and trying to reorganize, with what we really want to do in a grander way. But all righty, guys, thank you so much for
You're
coming and
welcome.
joining me. I hope you enjoy.
Oh, I had a bad.
No, this one was fun. This one was. I mean, boo to what happened to those kids and to Lauren and everything. But like, no, yeah, it was fun to kind of just let loose and it's just like because this is out of control. It's out
Yeah.
of control. But yeah, I will see you guys. I already set up something. I'm probably gonna go live Monday because I'm gonna talk about coffee date day. So
Oh yes.
yeah, we're I'm
Yeah.
a, we're going to chit and chat and chew about that one. So be ready for that. Like I said, I'm feeling tentatively Monday. Also, how you guys feel? Do you guys care about Clarissa Shields? Because I wanted. It keeps coming. It keeps coming, to me, and I keep trying to push it away because, like, I don't like just talking about people, but it's egregious at this
Yeah,
point.
no, you could talk about her because I think that's another her mindset is interesting to me, but I
Yeah.
haven't watched like her. I think she has like a biopic, right? About her
Yeah,
life.
she did. I haven't seen it, but that's part of the reason why, like, it's sitting out to me because, like, I found out about that. Well, the only reason I know her is because of this mess with her and Remy and Papoose and everything like that. And that is why I'm like, okay, there's so many people when you go into the comments that are saying the same thing, like they didn't even know about the movie or that they did know about the movie and the movie is so amazing, but she's not promoting it. She's not talking about it because she's so busy trying to prove some shit over fucking Papoose. So yeah. We gonna because for me specifically, it's like how people be like, oh well, how did you get here? And oh, you're a single mother. Like everybody wants to talk about it, but this is one of those things where like we're watching. Honestly, gotta say it. Same as with what's baby girl name? Little Mermaid. You know what I mean? Like when people are like,
Yeah.
hey, you might not want to do that. You know what I mean? So we could talk about it. It said, who is she? Clarissa Shields is a uh champion prize fighting boxer, woman boxer. She has a biopic starring Ryan Leslie, not Ryan Leslie, Lord. What's her name? The brown skin girl from Star. It's Ryan something, Ryan
Oh,
something. I don't remember her
oh,
name.
Ryan Destiny Ryan.
Ryan Destiny. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Some Ryan Leslie. Starring Ryan Destiny, and apparently it's an objectively good movie. But she has been for the last few years, um, stays in the blogs and stuff like that because she is in the middle of a one-sided beef with Remy Ma over Papoose because her and Papoose are now together, but for some reason Papoose is still not divorced from Remy Ma. So, yeah, there's a lot there to talk about
Yes, it
um
goes deep.
and
Like,
unpack. So, yeah,
mm,
I'll be getting that together at some point. But yeah, you guys, but the next thing we're going to talk about is Coffee Bay. So, thank you so much, everybody. Everybody. I will see you next time. She said, "Oh,
I know I laughed at that.
I will
Love you,
see.
honey.
Love you too. I miss you. I hope you could get more time to come and kick it with us in the Discord.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye,
Bye.
y'all.